All right, everybody, welcome back to the Rock and Roll Rebel Show, baby. And it is wild out there. It's 100% wild out there. What a day we had on Capitol Hill. Robert Hur testified. You got the Ken Buck is just quitting. I don't understand why he's just up and quitting. He says he's going to quit next week. And then, of course, you got the Cassidy Hutchinson. Remember her talking about Donald Trump was trying to attack Secret Service and take over the limo for January 6th. And then the big story, I think, that's being not too much reported on is the Boeing whistleblower. Remember when the door blew off on Boeing and they've been getting a lot of slack, Boeing, about their planes? The quality is trash. But you can't go against Boeing, you know what I'm saying? They work for the Department of Defense, baby. They're making big money. Big money. So be careful on your next flights. I don't know. I think it's that, what is it, the 737 or something like that? So you got to be careful. But let's all get it going on Capitol Hill. Robert Hur was the special counsel, former Department of Justice attorney. I guess he quit, right? He just resigned. And then that's how he was able to testify today. And he was up on Capitol Hill, and of course, you had all the politicians. Everybody wanted to speak on this. And Jim Jordan is leading it. And you had some real people up there trying to talk and to find out why Biden has all these classified documents everywhere. He had them in 6 different locations. The Penn Center. He had them in his garage. He had them in a living room. He had it in another living room. He had them all over the place. He bred them to the Ghost Rider. But Robert Hur said that Biden was just too senile, I guess, incompetent to go to trial. I think it was more about they couldn't get a trial for Joe Biden in Washington, D.C., because that's where the trial was going to happen. So he knew it was dead in the water. Could have went to trial. Nothing would have happened. Joe Biden wouldn't have been found guilty. Now, if you would have did that in Texas, maybe, guilty. Florida, guilty. A lot of other states, guilty. So this is the same stuff they're trying to get Trump. Trump had all his stuff locked up. He falls under the Presidential Act to have documents. They were locked up. He's under Secret Service protection. Joe Biden was a senator with these documents, a vice president with these documents, which you are not allowed to have. You can go into the SCIF, which is a room that is secured with no phones. You leave your phones outside, and you go over the information. Then you leave, come back out, you pick up your phone, stuff like that. Joe Biden just walked out with these documents. There was Afghan stuff. Who knows what all these documents were about? But he got paid $8 million to write a book. Could that be some of it? Some of this information for that? So there's all types of stuff to get into on this whole thing. We all know, like we're right here, you're watching this, you're part of the resistance. We already know. But we're here to wake up the rest of America. That's why you got to get out here, baby. Get out here, like and sub up. Make sure you like and sub up so we can spread the word. If we do not spread the word of what's going on, then we're going to be doomed. And I understand people are busy. You know what I'm saying? There's thousands and thousands and thousands of stuff that you can entertain yourself with. So I appreciate you coming over here and watching a little bit of this dumbass. You know what I'm saying?
Look at this dumb motherfucker.
But we're trying to give you the news. So that's why I try to give you the news real fast, real quick. And none of the spin. You know how Bill O'Reilly, the no spin zone? But he was spinning stuff. The real ones are out there, Tucker Carlson and all that. I just saw the other day that he had Chris Cuomo on there. You know what about Chris Cuomo, though? Like, if you ask me a question, I'm going to give you my honest answer about it. Chris Cuomo just wants to spin stuff and be like, this, that, tit for tat. Well, he did this, he did that. No, that's not how real people work. We want to get the real news out there. So that's why the Rock and Roll Rebel Show is here. Make sure you get out and vote, baby. Make sure you get out and vote, or we in trouble. Because everybody knows. We in the jungle, baby. Protect yourselves at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. Because the deep state is deep stating. We're in tyranny right now. Treason, baby. It's all there. It's all there. You see the Mockingbird media covers up. The government just does blatant stuff they cannot do. but they do it. And there's no checks and balances no more. They're locking up people. I can't remember, was it Canada? They're locking up people. We're sending group texts with their homies, their friends. And they sent something that I guess they didn't like so much in a group text, and they're locking this guy up for a year. So this is where we're at. They're going to lock up, I guess anybody that goes against their system, we're going to get locked up. I'm going to get locked up. If you're watching this, you're probably going to get locked up because that's the way they're going. And our only hope is November. So it's going to be one hell of 8 months to come up here right now because this is just going to get straight wild. It's going to get wilder and wilder. And I don't understand what they got in store. Like the whole January 6th stuff is falling apart now. All these conspiracy theories and psyops they want to pump into your heads. It's all for their control. They just, you know what I'm saying? They want to tell you there's dinosaurs. They want to tell you there's space. They want to tell you all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? WMDs. They want to pump you full of nonsense so you don't care. You tune out. You go to work. You work a whole year. 4 months of your whole year is paid to the government. You're giving your government 4 months of your salary. 4 months out the year. You're a slave giving your money to the master. That's the way it goes. But that's it. I'm going to, I'll stop and getting too crazy out here because you know what I'm saying? We just want to give you the real news, and that's what it's all about. We want to give you the real news, the truth, and we want to set everybody free. We want to set you free. Use your mind. You got to make your own lane. That's the way it works. Make your own lane. If not, you're just going to get swallowed up, and hopefully you got the right mindset to be happy. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're just going to chase other stuff, you're not going to be happy because you're always going to be chasing it. So find your balance, everybody. Find your balance. Find peace in your heart. Find love. And understand that people do make mistakes. But if they keep making the same mistakes over and over like the United States government and they deliberately lie to you, cut them out. You don't need that trash. And that's how we are right now. The government's way too big. We do not need it all. There's too much stuff in the background going on that we have no control over. So, there's people out there that say, we don't even get to pick and choose our presidents. They just put people up there because they don't care. They can control them all. They got blackmail out there. Jeffrey Epstein was blackmail. So that's why you like Ken Buck. That's why I think Ken Buck's leaving. It's just so strange that Ken Buck would just get up and leave. And now the House only has a one lead vote. You know what I'm saying? So if something happens, one more Republican drops out, then the Democrats take control of the House for the next 8 months. You get Hakeem Jeffries up there, which he is horrible. No telling what they'll try to push. And they already have the Senate. So we could be doomed. They could do almost anything, and they might just flood the gates. I have a feeling another Republican is going to leave. And they're going to contest Donald Trump winning the election in November. And they might have their own January 6th stuff coming. But they fixed the rule because that's the whole January 6th thing was. They had to have the pipe bombs. They had to distract everybody. They had their operatives in there. Antifa was in there. So, but let's just get into this whole Capitol Hill thing. Robert Hur, Joe Biden is cooked. We know he's incompetent. He was juiced up at the State of the Union. That's not the Joe Biden we get. Whenever Joe Biden gets super juiced up, he gets angry. He screams and yells. And it's not very presidential. So let's get into this, how Jim Jordan led it off. That's the only way we're going to get into this. And even Christopher Wray was out there testifying the other day to the Senate. And Adam Schiff, I hope he does not win California. Californians, you cannot let this bum in. Cannot let this bum in. But here we go. Here's Jim Jordan. I guess he's going to lead it off. We'll play this out. And it's very good. Jim Jordan knows what he's doing, so hopefully he can find the freedom for us that we deserved. There's not too many of them out there that are fighting for us. So let's play this right here.
Pursuant to an agreement with the ranking member Nadler and without objection, Chairman Comer and ranking member Raskin will be permitted to participate in today's hearing for the purposes of making opening statements and asking questions of the witness. They each will receive 3 minutes for an opening statement and 5 minutes to question the witness. The chair now recognizes himself for an opening statement. Robert Hur was appointed special counsel on January 12th, 2023. He He had a fundamental question to address. Did Joe Biden unlawfully retain classified information? The answer, yes, he did. Page 1 of Mr. Herr's report, he says this: our investigation uncovered evidence that President Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials after his vice presidency when he was a private citizen. He further writes, Mr. Biden willfully retained marked classified documents about Afghanistan and handwritten notes in his notebooks, which he stored in unsecure places in his home. Joe Biden kept classified information, and Joe Biden failed to store classified information properly. Mr. Herr made these determinations after interviewing 147 witnesses. He examined 7 million documents, including emails, text messages, photographs, videos, toll records, and other materials from both classified and unclassified sources. But there's more. Joe Biden not only kept information he wasn't allowed to keep, and he not only failed to secure that information properly, he also shared it with people who weren't allowed to see it. Shared that information with his ghostwriter. And remember, this is information that only individuals with a security clearance are supposed to see. Mr. Herr told us on page 200 of his report that it's the kind of information that, quote, risk serious damage to America's national security. And what did Joe Biden have to say about all this?
Nothing.
What was his explanation?
I forgot.
On page 94 of Mr. Herr's report, Joe Biden said he took his notebooks with him after his vice presidency because, quote, they're mine. And every president before me has done the same exact thing. Never mind the fact that he had never been president when he took this information. But what comes through is Joe Biden felt he was entitled. You can almost hear it. You can feel the arrogance in the statement. They're mine. But even with all that, Mr. Herr chose not to bring charges because, quote, Mr. Biden would likely present himself to a jury as he did in our interview of him as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. A forgetful old man who Mr. Herr said did not remember when he was vice president, forgetting on the first day of the interview.
And that's basically it. You know what I'm saying? That's the opening statements. That's all the stuff we know. And then the whole thing, they went back and forth, was when the Republicans were up, they wanted to make questions about Joe Biden and the documents. And then all the Democrats did was make it about Trump and his indictment. But Trump was legally allowed to have his documents. And you see all the cases they brought, the 91 indictments and all that. It's all it's all BS. I don't understand why we just can't get through all the BS and understand what's really going on, because that's what we got to do. We got to understand what's really going on. It's the deep stating. And I don't know if Trump's a part of it, but he's a part of the resistance, it looks like. And when the media is against him and everybody else is against him, like they're also talking about how he's going to get his intel reports if he becomes president. They're not going to give him the whole intel reports. They're going to water it down. So that makes me think they don't have Trump, because anybody else, they don't care. You know what I mean? They'll whip out a Polaroid picture, real quick. I'm like, oh, remember this? Oh, okay, let's not do that. So that's why you got to be careful. You got to protect yourselves at all times. It's a jungle. You know what I'm saying? It's a jungle out there. But let's get into more of this, too, because it's just crazy that Joe Biden shared all this money. And here's Robert Herr here. Let's play this. We'll play a little clip of this real quick. And then, we're going to move on. We're definitely going to move on to other stuff. We're going to move on to why Ken Buck's quitting. Why he's just going to randomly just get up and quit in 2 weeks. He also, remember, he was one of the Republicans. He's a Republican from Colorado that didn't vote for the impeachment of Mayorkas for the border wall. So everybody was like, well, you know what I'm saying? So he's definitely been blackmailed, because I don't see why any American wouldn't do that. Democrats don't care because they're just rats, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But Republicans are supposed to be standing up and be patriots and understand what's going on at the wall. But let's play the rest of this right here where Jim Jordan asked Robert Herr whether he agrees that the money trail makes sense. So let's pull this up, Because you always follow the money. You know what I'm saying? They're not very smart at hiding their money.
Yields back. The chair is recognized. Mr. Herr, why did he do it? Why did Joe Biden, in your words, willfully retain and disclose classified materials? I mean, he knew the law. Been in office like 50 years. 5 decades in the United States Senate, chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, 8 years as vice president. He got briefed every day as vice president. He's been in the Situation Room. In fact, you know he knew the rules because you said so on page 226. President Biden was deeply familiar with the measures taken to safeguard classified documents. And Joe Biden told us he knew the rules. Mr. Armstrong said this earlier. Joe Biden was deeply familiar with it. You're exactly right, because he told us when Jack Smith goes after President Trump, Joe Biden says, how could this happen? What data was in those documents that could compromise sources and methods? It's irresponsible. So Joe Biden knew the rules. You know he knew the rules. And Joe Biden told us he knew the rules. So, Mr. Herr, why did he break them?
Congressman, the conclusion as to exactly why the president did what he did is not one that we explicitly address in the report. The report explains my decision to the Attorney General that no criminal charges were warranted in this manner.
I think you did tell us. I think you told us, Mr. Herr. Page 231, you said this. President Biden had strong motivations. That's a key word. We're getting to motive now. President Biden had strong motivations to ignore the proper procedures for safeguarding the classified information in his notebooks. Why did he have strong motivations? Because, next word, because he decided months before leaving office to write a book. To write a book. That was his motive. He knew the rules. He broke them because he was writing a book. And you further say, and he began meeting with the ghostwriter while he was still vice president. There's the motive. Mr. Herr, how much did President Biden get paid for his book?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure if that information appears in the report.
Sure does. There's a dollar amount in there. You remember?
I don't. It may be $8 million. If that's
$8 million. Joe Biden had 8 million reasons to break the rules. Took classified information and shared it with the guy who was writing the book.
So that's
why he did. He knew the rules, but
right? So Biden got $8 million for the ghostwriter, and basically the ghostwriter deleted the video or the audio when they taped Biden telling him that, but they had the transcript. And the reason they can't prosecute Joe Biden is because they're trying to say that he's senile and he's got dementia and he's old. You know what I'm saying? We all see it. We see it every day. We see it every day. So, I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? This is what we're under right now. This is what we're under. And let's get into this Ken Buck thing. Why is Ken Buck leaving? I don't understand. He's going to leave Congress hanging. Congress now, because they already got rid of George Santos. Remember, they got rid of George Santos. The Republicans are just, it's all uniparty. Republicans got no backbone. There's literally like 5, 6, 7 people in Congress right now that are fighting for actual Americans. The rest of them are all getting rich themselves. They all don't care. Nancy Pelosi's buying NVIDIA stock. AOC's already, she's been in Congress since like, 2019 or whatever, 18? She's already got $30 million. She was a bartender. They don't care. They're all stacking their own pockets. They're all getting money from lobbyists. They're all getting money from corporations, and they're poisoning. The food is poison. You know what I'm saying? There's pesticides and everything. They don't want to give you the truth. They want to tell you to go take this vaccine. You know, you're not going to get COVID. Well, you get COVID. So I don't know what we're going to do as Americans. We've got to wake up. You got to pay attention. And I know people are busy, but let's understand why this Ken Buck was on CNN talking about why he's leaving. And he's leaving because he's a pussy. He's leaving because he's a pussy. He's basically was saying that it's too crazy up at Capitol Hill. Well, when it gets crazy, you dig in and you fight. You know what I'm saying? Put a little backbone in it, baby. Put a little bit of backbone in it. You know what I'm saying? Do it for your country. Instead, you're just going to chicken out. So let's play what he had to say. And this is your boy, Coloradians. This is what you voted for. Oh, we got to pull it up first. You know what I'm saying? We got to pull it up. Hopefully we don't get no technical difficulties like we did last time. I don't understand why the internet just cut out. Try to play some Trump speech and it just cut out. But here we go. Here's old Kim Buck.
My colleague Melanie Zanona is reporting that there is such tension among House Republicans that many of them aren't even going to a retreat that's going to happen at the end of this week. Is that tension part of why you're leaving so abruptly?
I think this place is dysfunctional. For example, I am the number 3rd ranking member of the Judiciary Committee. I haven't even asked my questions yet. 40, 50 people have gone before me.
But that could be personal. With
well,
all
it
due
could be
respect.
personal, but a lot of this is personal, and that's the problem. Instead of having decorum, instead of operating in a professional manner, this place has just evolved into this bickering and nonsense, and not really doing the job for the American people.
How much my colleague?
Oh, that's your boy. That's your boy, Kim Buck. That's your boy. He's out of here. Good riddance. We didn't need him anyway. But, I mean, he's just going to leave the Republicans hanging. Like I said, now the Republicans only have a 1-vote lead in the House. So it's going to be difficult. Hopefully nobody else leaves. Like I said, if somebody else leaves, then Jeffries will become Speaker of the House, and then all hell is going to break loose. Who knows what they would pass in because they got the Senate and all that. But also the January 6th is falling apart too. Remember that whole Cassidy Hutchinson testifying on January 6th under oath? So I don't know what's going to happen to her because it was a lie. The January 6th committee hid a bunch of stuff. It was all seemed like one big setup. They knew that Trump had I guess, a legal way to protest the election and the electors. He was going to send him back, and they knew that he was going to send it back. So all hell went out. Operation the Deep State had to plan something and plan something fast. They planted pipe bombs at the RNC, pipe bombs at the DNC. Kamala Harris, I don't know why she left the Capitol at like 12:32 to go to the DNC where a pipe bomb was. We played the video earlier where the Secret Service and I guess the FBI was out front. Didn't notice the pipe bomb by the bench. Supposedly the pipe bomber used a Metro card, and there's a lot of cameras in Washington, D.C., but no, we can't find him. So he was obviously working as a deep state, allegedly. I don't know. I got to toss that word out, allegedly, technically. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what any of that shit means, but they try to trick you with these stupid-ass words. But here we go. Let's play this right here. This is what she was saying, and I think it's funny. The whole story was funny. It remains funny to this day that Trump tried to beat up Secret Service and get a hold of the limousine, the beast, and drive it back to the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? Trump wanted to protest at the Capitol. So this lady, I don't know what's going to happen. She had to testify under oath. So she's definitely contempt because the Secret Service agents, they hid the agent. They hid the information. The January 6th committee hid it. Liz Cheney's a liar. Adam Schiff was a liar. Adam Kilzinger was a liar. They were all on the January 6th committee. Nancy Pelosi was in charge. They didn't want to release the National Guard, but let's play this Cassidy Hutchinson. It's so funny that she's going to, nothing's going to happen to her. Nothing happens to none of these people. I don't understand. Nothing. Zippity doo-dah, you know what I'm saying? Zippy, nothing.
Angry response to that. Tony described him as being irate. The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Ornato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
And was Mr. Engel in the room as Mr. Ornato told you this story?
Ah!
Shut up, bitch!
Look at that pig, Liz Cheney. Her father was a pig too, warmongers, bro. I don't know, people. I don't know. What are you going to do? Make sure you like and sub up, baby. Like and sub up. We out here trying to give you the real news, baby. Trying to give you the real news. I don't know what happened. Where's all my windows at? I get excited. This magic mouse is just magicking all by itself. And let's close this out, baby. Let's close this out with the whole, what happened to the whistleblower? The whistleblower from Boeing. Remember when the door blew out? This guy was in charge of quality control. He would go around to the plants that made the stuff for the Boeing airplanes and check their quality to make sure that they were all running good. But he whistleblowed, talking about how he went into a plant, I believe one time, with his 4 inspectors. He was talking about he went into a plant with his 4 inspectors, and they were making parts for Boeing, and they found like 300 things that were horrible. And then later on, his boss, because he gave it to his boss, is like, oh, wait a minute. And then his boss went over there with 2 other inspectors and only gave him like a half hour to look at everything and only found 50. And then the whistleblower said he talked to one of the inspectors, and they're like, they only gave us the 30 minutes to find anything, and then we were out. So it was a big cover-up because I guess, Boeing wants to make, instead of getting a quality product out, they just want to get a cheap product out and get it out fast because they're still paying the same exact money. So they were just cutting their bottom line out. And you're flying in aluminum cans up on this beautiful earth. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. This whistleblower was on TMZ earlier. They also arrested Top G, Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate out there. There's also that Virginia couple. Remember that Virginia couple? I don't know if you've seen it in the news, but they were yachting out in the Caribbean. And some pirates came aboard and did some awful things to them. So remember this is part of the Boeing thing too. This was a Boeing aircraft in the air, I believe, a couple weeks ago that basically was on fire. So I don't know. Remember it was the trains derailing. Now it's the airplanes that are going crazy. So I don't know what's going on. But remember this was on, I don't know, a few weeks ago with a Boeing jet just in the air.
Oh my God, it's on fire.
So.
Oh my God. Sorry.
Gotta be safe.
Oh my God,
look at
it's
that.
on fire.
That's wild. That's a Boeing jet on fire, baby, in the sky. Imagine being on that plane. Imagine being on that plane. But let's get into this whistleblower right here. I just don't understand. The Boeing whistleblower was John Barnett, and he was found dead in his truck with a self-inflicted gunshot wound, they're saying. So the cover-up's there. He was on TMZ talking about how he gave the interview a while ago, but he was retired, so he was going to whistleblow on Boeing, but I guess somebody didn't like what he was going to say. This is the man right here. We'll play a little bit of this, and then we're going to get on out of here, baby. We're going way too long, baby, way too long.
And the reason my concern for that is back in 2012, Boeing started removing inspection operations off their jobs. So it left the mechanics to buy off their own work. So what we're seeing with the door plug blowout is what I've seen with the rest of the airplane, as far as jobs not being completed properly, inspection steps being removed, issues being ignored. My concerns are with the 737 and the 787 because those
Oh, so that's big. The 737. We know it's having a lot of problems. I think those have been grounded. But the 787, I believe that's a new plane from Boeing, I would imagine. Haven't heard too much about that. That sounds like, I think that might be that Dreamliner or something. Supposed to be making this big thing. So be careful when you fly. Like, you didn't even want to fly like Spirit or nothing like that back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what's going on with the camera, baby. I don't know what's going on. But we out here, baby. We out here. It's peace and love, baby. It's peace and love. We're going to get on out of here. The Rock and Roll Rebel Show, baby, is gone. We gone. We definitely going to see you tomorrow, baby. Peace and love. Stay safe. God bless you all. And like I say, baby, protect yourselves at all times.